Russ. Yeah, I'm back in the car again. Where am I headed? Going to the post office. Yep. Gotta make my monthly mailing. Yeah, I mentioned this before. Certain things have to be paid via the mail. One of which is our lawn care service guy. Yeah, I pay him with a check. So off to the post office we go. It usually is that, as well as what else gets paid? Oh, the city. The city payments are paid via the mail. Yeah, I mean, you could do it online, but they charge you extra for that. Forget it. I'll drop off there first, and then I'll head to Costco. See how that works out? So what have I been doing this morning already? It's 9:34 a.m. You know, Costco opens up at 9 o'clock for executive members. I've done that before. 10 o'clock for normal members. By the time I get there, it'll probably be closer to the normal membership. Yeah, it's actually interesting. When you get there early at 9 a.m., as they open, there's hardly anybody there. I mean, it's just the executive members. All the other members aren't allowed in. So it really feels kind of strange to get there and see like hardly anybody in the warehouse. And then all of the shopping carts are all lined up still. I mean, nobody's taken it yet because, you know, you're the first person in the door. And yeah, it's a lot of carts, man. It is a lot of carts. So anyway, what have I been doing this morning? Well, I took a bike out. I've been doing some testing for a new bike that came in. Had a nice long talk with my handler, influencer handler. I don't know what they would call them. I guess she's an influencer handler. She's in China. Yeah, she's in China. Nice lady. I asked her how old she was. She's 25 years old. Most of them tend to be around 25 to 35. Yeah, I don't know why that is. What about all the older folks who are in China? Don't they work? Maybe they don't work in this technology stuff. I have no idea. So anyways, I told her that I was 66 years old, and she was like, "You're 66?" Even the Chinese don't believe I'm 66. How do you like that? Yeah, well, I'm 66 and a half. Somebody said to me once, says, "How many people say and a half?" He says, "Unless you're like 5 years old." 66 and a half. So anyway, yeah, we had a nice long chat via messaging, and you know, we tried to do it via email. She says, "You want to just message each other? It'd be a lot faster." I go, "Sure." So here I am at about 10 o'clock or so at night, and of course it's about 11 a.m. for her. So so we had a nice interesting chat. We talked about other things in addition to e-bikes. You know, I told her that I was Chinese as well, but born here in the United States. And so I told her that I understand a type of dialect from China called Toisan dialect. And she said, "Oh," she says, I know that. Well, she knows of it. You know, she doesn't speak it herself. But she told me that she does speak Cantonese, which I said, well, I would probably understand most of what you're saying in Cantonese because it is similar. She said, yeah, she says the tones are slightly different, like the accents, she called it. But in general, she goes, yeah, you would understand it. I go, yeah, you could technically speak Cantonese to me. I probably understand 70% of it. And I would probably just answer back to you in English. That's how I did it to my mom. She'd speak Chinese to me in Toisan dialect. I would answer back in English because when we were growing up, my mom told us that all we spoke was Chinese until we went to school. So by the time you hit kindergarten, you know, you're speaking English at this point. And yeah, the Chinese kind of goes away, but I still understand it because my mom spoke it to me my entire life until she passed away, of course. But Yeah, it's interesting. So she understands my e-bike handler, influencer handler. She understands uh, the Toisan dialect because she says it's very similar to Cantonese. I says, well, that's why I understand. That's why I understand Cantonese is because it's very similar to Toisan, right? So, all right, I'm at the post office. Let me shut down for a second, and I'll come right back as soon as I drop this off. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more. Sit tight. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, the only reason I go inside to drop off the mail is people have said that sometimes um, people will steal mail out of the mailbox drops um, just so they can wash the checks. Yeah, washing checks is where they clear all the data that's written on the check and then write their own information in there and then steal your check and then cash it. So that's the reason I do that. So anyway, as I was speaking with my handler person out in China, she was telling me that the reason she knows of the Toisan language, she says, is that where that area is from is actually not that far from where her company is. It's the town-wise, that is, okay? So she says, so she hears it all the time. So she says she would probably understand it as well. Because it says it is very similar to Cantonese. And I said, yeah, that's right. So, but it's interesting because sometimes I've spoken with, well, not spoken, but, texted back and forth with other e-bike handlers. Handlers. It sounds like the CIA or something. So the other ones, and some of them don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, they don't know where the area is that I'm talking about. Now, I've never been there myself, of course, and so it's interesting to find someone who actually knew the area I was talking about. Yeah, apparently we're from a very small village. But, being that she said it's not that far from where her company is, that's why she's there. So, yeah, it was fun talking to her. I actually have a lot of fun talking to I say talking, but as you know, I'm talking about texting and messaging. Because, these people are 13 hours ahead of us where they're located. So, you're able to talk to somebody halfway around the world instantaneously. To me, that is just an amazing thing. I know my dad, who was really into technology stuff, he would have loved texting. Anything that's technology, he loved that stuff too, just like I did. But yeah, he never got to see it. Yeah, I kind of feel bad about that. Certain things. He was one of the first adopters of cell phones. Yeah. He had one of those Tandy cell phones from Radio Shack, the one that kind of looked like a big battery. He had one of those. Yeah. I don't know when he would ever use it. I think he barely used it. I don't even know why he bought it, but he's into that kind of stuff. So he bought a 286 computer when it first came out, the IBM 286 series computer, well, it was an 8088 initially, right? And so then it became a 286, and then a 386, 486, and then Pentiums. Now I'm dating myself, but yeah, he bought himself a 286 machine, and I don't know why, because he really didn't know that much about computers, but he always wanted to get stuff and then try to learn on it. He didn't learn much of it. I don't think he really used it. By the time he bought that, we had already moved out of the house and everything. So I was like, why do you need one of these for? But that's the way he is. Or was. So anyway, yeah, we were kind of discussing the e-bike, and I told her that I had taken it out for my initial ride, and to kind of get a feel for it, I took it over to hill test and everything like that too. So so we were just kind of discussing that, and then somehow we got sidetracked. We got talking about other things other than the e-bike. But I appreciate her doing that, because the more I get to know the people I'm working with, usually the better it is, because if there's an issue or if there's a problem, I could just ask them, say, hey, can you do this, or what do you think about this, and they respond better because they get to know you better, right? I did ask her if she had seen any of my videos before. She goes, yes. She says, I have. She goes, but you don't look 66 years old. So I sent her one of the more recent photos that was taken like last year or something. She goes, yeah, you don't look it. Well, I told her that many of the companies I've worked with have told me that they're glad to work with me because I am of the older generation. And of course, the e-bikes are sold a lot into the older generation, right? So I says, yeah, when I first, I'm getting itchy again. I don't know what it is. At first I thought, who would be watching me on YouTube when you consider, my age and, ethnicity and everything. And so, but she says, no, she says, you fit a demographic that, our company sells a lot of products to. I go, yeah, exactly. So I guess they appreciate having me along. Now, is there a benefit being Chinese too? I think there is. Yeah, I think there is. At least for working with the Chinese companies, when they find out that I am Chinese, and of course they already know that because they've looked at my video. Once we agreed that I would take the product in for a review, they usually will at least then check out your video. Sometimes these guys don't check out the videos. Yeah, where am I going here? Let me try here. Turn over here. I might be turning too early. Yeah, I might be turning too early. Oh well, that's okay. So I'm already in the turn lane. I got no option at this point. There's the cars in the way. Yeah, I think when they find out that I'm Chinese because they've looked at the video, it does help, I think, because they feel more connected to you somehow. I don't know if that's, should be the case or if that is truly the case, but I do feel that it probably is, yeah. Because a lot of times when I ask for certain things of the companies, maybe a special favor here, a special favor there, or can you do this, they tend to say, okay. I don't know whether they would do that with someone who's not Chinese. Now, I hate to say that, but I know how the Chinese think. All right, they tend to help the other Chinese guy. Yeah. So in that sense, I do get things. Like for instance, somebody had mentioned, Russ is cheap. He gets all extra batteries and everything. You know where that comes from? I think it's because of the fact that I'm Chinese. I have helped the company sell a number of e-bikes, and so when I request, can I get a second battery so I can go farther and make more videos for you? Who's going to say no to that? You're selling more e-bikes for them with that second battery, right? So I usually will ask for it. If it's a bike that I plan to take for some distance, if I'm going to go farther with that particular model bike, I will ask for a second battery, right? Now, not all of them will do it, of course, but many of them will. Yeah, you just have to make a request. But other companies will still give you things too. Like, for instance, give you an example, Electric. Okay, well, obviously they're not a Chinese company. They're out in Arizona. But we were talking about the new XP Trike 2. And they said, which one would you like? And I said, well, if it was me, I'd get the 750 watt version, but the 500 watt version is coming out a little sooner, and I think I would rather show everybody, the new trike instead of having them wait a month or two later before I can show them the trike. By that time, other YouTubers will probably have already shown the 500 watt version too. So they said, well, let's send you to 500, then I'll make sure we send you to 750 when it comes out as well. And they don't have to do that, right? But they do it, You build a good relationship with the person who's in charge of the influencers and get little favors like that. Yeah, Christian is the guy who's out there. He's a good guy. Yeah, I like talking to him. We had a good time talking in Arizona. And yeah, he'll do little favors like that for you. You know, I like for instance when I got um, the original trike, I asked, could I get the baskets? Could I get the you know the the better seat with the backrest on it? And yeah, they just send it to you. Yeah, yeah. So I will probably be taking that off before I sell off the original trike, because I'm going to need it for the other bikes. I don't want to keep asking them to send me, you know, another seat. That would be asking a little too much. So, yeah, I usually strip my bikes back to the original format um, before I sell off the bike. So if you ever buy an e-bike from me, yeah, okay, I can turn here. It's going to be back into its original form. Oh, man. So yeah, things like the bell will be removed. The side view mirror I usually put on every bike, that would be removed. You know, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I could leave it there but charge you for it, but I'd rather not, because I would have to order it again, because I would just put it on another bike. So it's better to strip it, give you what they expect it would have been sold for, right? Sold as, I should say. So that was my night and day yesterday night, and this morning I was out testing the bike a little bit more, and then giving them some feedback of my findings of the bike. Now, is it a positive feedback or a negative feedback? Well, you know, there's good and bad of every product. I pointed out some things that were good. I says, you know, overall the bike tests out fairly well. You know, however. These are one or two things that I have an issue with, you know. So it's always the case is that there's usually something about the bike that you don't like, or you said, well, if it was like this, it would have been a little bit better. And it's this type of feedback that really I think they use to improve the product. Hopefully they improve the product, right? Because really, who's going to tell you better than people who are working with you, you know, as far as you know, doing the review? Because if we don't like something, because we've had access to a lot of different bikes as a reviewer, different brands. You know, even the manufacturers don't have the type of access we have. You know, think about it. Unless they plan to buy a whole bunch of bikes themselves from competitors to test it, they don't have the amount of competitors' knowledge as we do. So when I come back and tell a company, okay, this would be better if you did this, or if you change this one little thing, it might be better for you, you know, hopefully they take that to heart, because that's how you improve a product, right? Can't guarantee all companies do that, though. If they were smart, they would do that. Yeah, I mean, the guys are telling you stuff that is valuable information. You know, maybe they never thought of something. There's been one or two companies where I mentioned something and I said, hey, do you guys ever think about doing this? And they go, huh, never thought about that. Let's hope they improve it, you know, for the next generation of the product. So, you know, one company that I find that seems to constantly improve their product is Electric. Yeah, they keep seeming to do an upgrade here or there. You know, for example, the XP model. Okay, that's their longest running model. They'll do the upgrade, and then after they do the upgrade, they don't charge you anymore. It's the same price as the last year's. I mean, that XP series has been $9.99 for a long time. Figure that one out. All right, where am I going here? Yeah, I got to turn here. I believe I got to turn here. Yeah, because I turned early that one thing, so it put me off. So I got to go a different direction here now. So anyways, that's about all I have for you guys for today. Just wanted to turn the camera on, let you know what's happening last night and this morning. And so now I'm off to get a pizza after all that hard work. Yeah, see, we work into the night. You know, I'm on the computer talking to the company at like 10 to 11 o'clock last night. Yeah, so who says that we don't work for our money? We do. All right, is it strenuous work? No. just on the computer talking, you know, but we are talking business at that point. So then I was up early this morning, took the bike out because I'm not going to do it when it's hot. So yeah, we have a certain amount of work that we do for the reviews, and then for an exchange for that, they give us a bike, and hopefully there's some type of affiliate link that we can offer. So if somebody orders the bike, we get a few dollars for that too. So, all right. Anyways, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. It's 9:56 a.m., so which means everybody's heading to Costco now at this point. Still can get a table. A lot of people don't get a pizza early in the morning like I do. I think the guy is always kind of surprised when he sees me. He's not surprised anymore because I'm there all the time. But that's what I usually get for my breakfast. All right. Talk to you guys next time.